I answered before I could change my mind. She didn't even say hello. So are you finished being dramatic? I nearly laughed. That's how you're starting this conversation? You embarrassed Mom. No, you did. I told Mom what you said. Emily sighed loudly. I was trying to protect Tyler. From what? He deserves one vacation where he isn't competing for attention. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Lily and Noah don't compete with him. They always have. They're older than him. Exactly. I took a slow breath. So your solution was to tell my children they aren't family. I never said that. You literally created a group called Real Family Only. Silence. Then, that was a joke? A joke? Everyone understood. My 14-year-old daughter cried herself to sleep. Emily's voice hardened. You're always making everything about those kids. Those kids. Not your niece, not your nephew. Those kids. Something inside me went completely still. You know what, Emily? What? You won't have to worry about them anymore. She sounded relieved. Finally. I ended the call. 2 hours later, Mom knocked on our front door. She walked inside carrying a tray of homemade cinnamon rolls like she always did when something was wrong. The second she saw Lily sitting quietly on the couch, she hugged her so tightly that my daughter started crying. I'm so sorry, Mom whispered. So sorry. Lily shook her head. It's okay. No. Mom cupped her face. It isn't. Noah quietly stood in the hallway pretending not to watch. Mom walked over to him next. You know you're my grandson. He smiled politely. I know, but I could tell he didn't. Not anymore. That afternoon, Dad arrived. I've only seen my father angry a handful of times in my life. This was one of them. He didn't sit down. He paced. Finally, he looked at me. Emily lied. I know. She told Brian we wanted the trip changed. I figured. I never said any such thing. He rubbed his forehead. I raised both of you. I stayed quiet. I don't recognize the woman she's become. Neither did I. Monday morning, my phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't Emily. It was the travel coordinator. Mrs. Mitchell? Yes. We've received several calls requesting access to your reservation. I closed my eyes. Of course. They claimed they were helping organize the family trip. And? We explained only the lead traveler can authorize changes. Good. There have been 6 calls. 6? Yes. I almost laughed. Emily had actually been trying to gain access behind my back. Without asking me, without apologizing, without even speaking to me. The coordinator continued. Would you like us to add a security password? Absolutely. Within minutes, the reservation was locked. Only I could modify it. That evening, Michael came home carrying a brochure. He placed it on the dining table. I looked down. An all-inclusive beachfront resort. Not in Florida. In Hawaii. My eyes widened. Michael, hear me out. It's expensive. So was Florida. I laughed softly. We can't just. He interrupted. I received my annual bonus. I blinked. You never mentioned that. I wanted to surprise you. He smiled toward the kids' bedrooms. They deserve their first real vacation. I looked through the photos. Private beach, snorkeling, volcano tours, sea turtles, sunset cruises. Lily wandered into the room. What are you looking at? Michael smiled. Dreams. She leaned over the brochure. Her eyes became huge. Is that real? He nodded. Very. For the first time in weeks, she smiled, a real smile. The next several days became strangely peaceful. We stopped discussing Emily, stopped reading her texts, stopped worrying about the family group chat. Instead, we planned. Noah researched surfing lessons. Lily wanted to swim with dolphins. Michael started comparing excursions. Even I felt lighter. Until Friday afternoon. That's when Brian called. My brother-in-law had never phoned me directly before. His voice sounded exhausted. Sarah. Hi, Brian. I owe you an apology. I stayed silent. I didn't know Emily made that group. You didn't? No. You were in it. I was added after. He sighed. I assumed everyone had agreed. They hadn't. I know that now. There was genuine regret in his voice. I'm sorry. Thank you. Then he hesitated. Can I ask one favor? I already knew. What? Please don't cancel the reservation. So, Emily had finally told him. I haven't canceled anything. You haven't? No. He sounded confused. Then why can't we access it? Because it belongs to me. Silence. Oh. I paid every deposit. Oh. I spent months planning it. Another long silence. Finally, he whispered, I don't think Emily understood that. I almost smiled. No. I don't think she did. Saturday evening, the family gathered for Dad's birthday barbecue. I debated not going, but hiding would only reward Emily. So we went. The atmosphere was painfully awkward. Emily arrived 40 minutes late wearing oversized sunglasses. She acted as though nothing had happened. She hugged everyone except us. Tyler looked embarrassed. Poor kid. None of this was his fault. Dinner passed quietly, then dessert arrived. Dad stood. I'd like to say something. Everyone looked up. I've been thinking about family. Emily smiled confidently. Then Dad continued. Family isn't determined by blood. Emily's smile disappeared. It's determined by love. He walked around the table, stopped beside Lily, placed one hand on her shoulder. You've been my granddaughter since the day I met you. Lily's eyes immediately filled with tears. Then he moved to Noah. And you've been my grandson. The backyard became completely silent. Dad finally turned toward Emily. If anyone believes otherwise, he paused. They don't speak for your mother or me. Emily looked furious. She stood abruptly. So now I'm the villain? Nobody answered. She laughed bitterly. Fine. She grabbed her purse. Enjoy your fake family. Before anyone could stop her, she stormed toward the gate. Tyler quietly followed. Brian remained seated, looking completely defeated. Later that night, my phone buzzed, a bank notification. I frowned. Then opened my travel account. Someone had attempted to charge an additional $4,000 to the reservation. Unauthorized. Declined. Because of the security password. I immediately called the travel company. The representative confirmed it. Someone identifying herself as Emily Mitchell attempted to upgrade rooms. I nearly dropped the phone. Without authorization? Yes. What else? They requested additional guests. I couldn't believe it. Emily wasn't just trying to use my reservation. She was trying to expand it, using my account. The representative apologized repeatedly. We've documented everything. Thank you. We've also recorded the calls. That stopped me cold. Recorded. Every conversation. Every request. Every claim she'd made. For the first time, I realized this wasn't just family drama anymore. Emily had crossed a line she couldn't simply explain away. And deep down, I had a feeling the worst was still coming. Because early the next morning, someone knocked on our front door. When I opened it, 2 people were standing there. One was Brian. The other was a woman in a navy blazer holding a folder. She looked directly at me and said, Mrs. Mitchell, I believe you should see what your sister has been telling people. My heart sank. I stepped aside. Please. Come in. And as she opened the folder, I realized the family vacation had become the least of our problems. The woman in the navy blazer waited until everyone had taken a seat before placing a thick folder on our coffee table. She introduced herself as Rebecca Lawson, a senior client relations manager from the travel company. "I normally don't make house calls," she said calmly. But what happened here became unusually complicated. Brian sat on the edge of the couch, unable to meet my eyes. "I asked her to come," he admitted quietly. Rebecca opened the folder. Inside were printed transcripts, call logs, and copies of emails. She slid the first page toward me. The date was 3 days earlier. The caller was identified as Emily. I began reading. "I'm Sarah Mitchell's sister. She's dealing with emotional issues right now, so I'm taking over the family reservation." My stomach tightened. The next page was worse. Emily had claimed that I was mentally unstable and that she was trying to protect the children from unnecessary stress. Rebecca folded her hands. "Our staff became suspicious because Mrs. Mitchell repeatedly contradicted information already on the account." I looked up. "So she kept calling?" Rebecca nodded. 9 separate attempts. Brian buried his face in his hands. I had no idea she'd gone this far. The final transcript made the room fall silent. Emily had asked the representative to remove my name from the reservation entirely. When they refused, she demanded a supervisor. When that failed, she tried using our father's name. Then Michael's. Then even claimed I had given verbal authorization. Every attempt had been recorded. Rebecca looked directly at me. "We believed you deserved to know." Later that afternoon, Dad called an emergency family meeting. No birthdays. No holidays. No celebrations, just one conversation. When everyone arrived, Rebecca played portions of the recorded calls. No one interrupted. No one defended Emily. When the final recording ended, the silence was almost unbearable. Dad slowly stood. His voice was steady. "I have spent my entire life teaching my children that trust is earned." He looked at Emily. "You didn't just betray your sister." He paused. "You tried to erase her family." Emily opened her mouth. "I was only trying." "No." Dad raised a hand. "You've had every opportunity to tell the truth." Mom wiped away tears. "You hurt 2 children who have done nothing except love this family." Emily looked around the room, searching desperately for someone to support her. There was no one. Even Tyler quietly walked over and stood beside. Lily and Noah. That single choice said everything. Brian finally spoke. "I'm taking Tyler home." Emily stared at him. "What?" "I'm done pretending this behavior is normal." Without another word, he picked up their overnight bags. Tyler hugged his grandparents, then he hugged Lily. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "It wasn't your fault," Lily replied. As Brian and Tyler walked away, Emily realized she was standing completely alone. Weeks later, while the rest of the family gathered for our long-awaited vacation not in Florida, but in Hawaii, we watched Lily laugh as she learned to surf, and Noah grin from ear to ear after spotting sea turtles for the first time. One evening, sitting on the beach during sunset, Lily slipped her hand into mine. "Mom? Yes?" She smiled. "Thank you for choosing us." I hugged her tightly. "I'll always choose you." Across the sand, Dad was teaching Noah how to fly a kite while Mom collected seashells with Tyler, who had joined us after Brian arranged his own flights, the first time in years. There was peace. Emily wasn't there. She had been invited, only after offering a sincere apology and taking responsibility. She declined. Perhaps pride cost her more than she ever expected. As the sun disappeared below the horizon, I finally understood something I wish I'd learned years earlier. Family isn't measured by shared DNA. It isn't earned through titles, and it certainly isn't decided by the loudest voice in the room. Family is the people who choose one another, especially when choosing isn't easy. Never chase acceptance from people who keep moving the finish line. The people who truly love you will never make your children prove they belong. Love is what makes a family, and standing up for the people you love is never something you should apologize for.